welcome to the Grade 5 art class. Let me show you what the girls have done so far. Beautiful. There you go. Very good. Now, Lovey, you can't sit there. That's not your desk. Come sit where you're meant to sit. Thank you. There we go. There we go. Say hello, hello, hello. There we go. There we go. Lovely dolphins. There we go.
Hello.
Hello. There we go. Oh, that's very good. A bit light, but very good. Let's see. There we go. Say hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Very good, girls.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Excellent. Did we say hello?
Is that English?
I think it's for Isra. Okay, bye-bye, Isra.
Bye.
Bye, bye-bye, bye, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye. Right, so this is the Grade 5 project. The Grade 4s, 6s and 7s can also do this, but I have specifically created this design, the design of the dolphin, and there's also the killer whale or the orca and the whale image. It is more a design type of artwork. And the elements of art, there are 7: line, shape, form, color, tone, texture, and space. So the elements that we use in this project, elements are what you use to create an artwork, is line. A lot of line, as you can see, we're using lines to create patterns and designs. Shape, the shape of the dolphin and the shapes within the dolphin. Okay, we're not using form. Form is when something looks 3D. Okay, color, yes, we are using color. That's correct. Tone, no, we're not using tone. Tone is when you do shading. As you can see here, there's no shading on your dolphin. It's more flat. Texture, not really texture. Texture is the way something feels or looks, like a furry kind of texture, which is, or you can see this texture here on the orange, your little dots, the texture of the orange, or that's the visual one, and then the tactile one is the one you would feel. You can feel with your hands, is the way something feels. Okay, the texture it's got. So this is more a flat design. It's more a design project. It's not really a realistic project. Usually realistic images have got texture, or otherwise crafty artworks that you can feel also have the tactile texture that you touch and the visual texture that you see. And then we have the element of space. Space is we are using that as well. The positive space is your actual image that you have drawn and that you are designing. And the negative space is all the space behind the positive space. Right, so let's get started. Great, so let's get started. So this is the dolphin template that you've got, and then this is the worksheet. So I drew these long lines already for you because I've got a long ruler and your class ruler isn't quite long enough. So now you're going to take your ruler, and you'll see on the top there's a little line there and a little line there. And then you're going to put your ruler on both the little lines, the little marks, and then just draw. I'm using a 6B, a dark pencil, so that you can see clearly, but you you use your HB and draw it quite lightly because the grid will be erased once your image has been drawn. Right. So the grid is a very, very effective way on learning how to draw. It's a great tool because it shows us where the lines must be, how the actual shape of the lines, and how far away from the horizontal line, how far away from the horizontal line that drawing where we must begin, and then we need to go there, and we need to go to the next horizontal line, and the grid enables us to see the distance. So what we can do is let's start up here. There are 1, 2, 3 blocks. If you want, you can just number them. 1, 2, 3. And we are going to cut your dolphin out afterwards, so it doesn't matter. You can number on that space. Great. And then on the side, we can say A, B, C. There's also 3 going down. Great. So A, B, C. Excellent. So let's start here in 3A. 3A. You make a little cross. Right. And what do you see in this block, in this rectangular shape? You see that little shape. Right. So now we've got to do exactly in that shape we've got to do exactly in this shape what is in that shape. Okay. So we can measure if you want, or you can look with your eye. You can judge with your eye. That says 1 centimeter. So we go to our worksheet. We put it on 1 centimeter. We measure 1 centimeter. Great. And then we need to go from there to there. And we do the same here. We measure up from that vertical line to where that line must touch the grid is 2 centimeters. There we go, 2 centimeters on the horizontal line, right? And then we see we can just link them up. You look exactly there, you've got that shape. Perfect. Great. So now we need to move that line, we need to move to the next horizontal line on the grid. So we need to do that line. Okay, so again, we can measure. You can measure either from this vertical line, it is 7 centimeters, or you can measure from there to there, that is almost 5.5. It's up to you. Great, so let's take the 7 centimeter length. There we go. 7 centimeters. Excellent. So we know that's got to now touch the horizontal line. This drawing line has got to touch that line right there. Okay, so now we go down, 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 down. So you can draw a little clock for yourself. That always helps. That's 12, 6, 3, 9, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. So now you can see on the clock, if you had to see where would the hand of the clock go? There. 4 o'clock. So you go towards 4 o'clock. Right. So we go towards 4 o'clock, and then how do we know where to make that little bend, that little curve going downwards? We can measure again. Right. 5. Now in the beginning you use your ruler a lot to measure. And you use your grid to help you to see where the distance, where the drawing must start and where it must go to. So it's like learning how to ride a bicycle. These are your training wheels. But once you're confident enough, you don't need your training wheels anymore. You can ride confidently on your bicycle, just like with drawing. Once you're confident enough and your eye is practiced and you can see, you can also just measure with your hand like that, or with your pencil like that. The main thing is you don't move your wrist. Okay, just one moment, please. Right, so we have measured now 5 centimeter, 5, and we're going towards 4 o'clock, right? There, 4 o'clock. Once we're there, we need to just make that little curve, that little bend, and we go towards our mark on the horizontal line, the grid. Excellent. Okay, so you can see there, it must look like that. So we can see how it makes a bit more of a curve there, so we tweak it a bit. A little bit more of a rounded curve. Great. Excellent. So now we are going to do this shape here in this bottom rectangular block. So now we also look, that went towards 4 o'clock. That's also more or less just after 4. It's not quite 4, it's 4:15. So that we know, 4:15, and then we can measure. How far does it go? Oh, it's like 3.5, right? So we make our mark 3.5, and it is slightly more 4:15, that angle there, right? Excellent. Or if you want to see where it stops, you can also measure there. That's 3, yes. So there are lots of different ways that you can see where that shape must stop. Or you can measure from the top line, 3 or so. Excellent. So you can work out your own kind of way, your own technique of drawing. Either look 4:15, measure, or you can measure that distance or that distance, right, or even that distance from the bottom. There are no set rules. You find your own technique. Right, so we are here now. So now we're going down towards that direction, which would be about 6:30, going down towards that direction. And then you can see how long, if you want to measure more or less, it's more or less 1.5 centimeters. Or you can just look with your eye, more or less. And you make that little dot, but as you can see, it is curved. So we're going to make it curved, right? And afterwards, you can actually make that little shape there. Great. Afterwards, we're going to add the lines inside the shape. Excellent. So now we're going up, up, up towards there about. So let's see. We're going to, and then it curves more and it touches the vertical line there. So we need to go to that vertical line. So let's see. So here we can see it goes up, up, up on the clock. Where would that be? Oh, towards 10 o'clock, right? It goes up, up, up. Or let's see, maybe 9:30-ish, 9:30-ish, that direction. If you want to measure again, it's 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters about. There we go. If you want to measure that distance, you can as well. Like I say, you find your own technique. Excellent. That's 2 centimeters. Wonderful. So now you've got that shape there. So you see it's a bit more of an angle there. Great. And you go up. And now you've got to touch that line. How far is it from that horizontal line? Let us measure. It is 1.5. Okay, so your template has got the fin there. So you can just take your pencil and just draw a line through the fin, because that's the shape of the body. The continuation of the shape of that line is the shape of the body. So we'll do the fins later. We're just going to do the basic body shape first. Right, so now we need to measure from there to there, which is about 1.5 centimeters. Great. And then we look, drawing is all about looking. You see that slight curve, and then it goes like, it curves again. Okay, so a line like that. Right, so we look, curves a little bit, and then goes out a little bit. Excellent. There we go. Great. So now we need to move to the next line on the grid from there to there. So we're going to make our mark. Let's measure it. It is about 4.5. Put your ruler on that vertical line, 4.5. There we go. And then just look at that curve. Okay, so it curves a bit. Great. So you need this triangular shape, this shape here. Excellent. So there's our curve. Great. See that shape? That shape is there. So now we're going to move from that line on the grid to that next line. So we're using the grid the whole time to show us where our drawing must go to, where our drawing fits on the page. Right, so we go curve. So now we're going to measure there. What's that measurement? That's about 1.5. In the middle block, the middle one, it's about 1.5. You put your mark there, and then it curves. Right, it curves. Excellent. So you get that shape, like a little hill, a little dune on the beach. Right. You can always make an association. What does it look like? Great. So now we continue with the little hill or the dune, and we have to go to there on the grid. So now we measure how far is that. That is 5 centimeters. Put your ruler on the 5, go to the 0, not the 1, the 0, where it says centimeter. Okay, we start there. And then we go, choops. That hill is rounded there, and then it goes more at a diagonal angle. So it's rounded, and then that angle is more diagonal. Great. So again, that shape there is here. Correct. So we're not even thinking of drawing a dolphin. We're just looking at shapes within each rectangular block. And automatically the dolphin will pop out. Okay, so the next one. So now we need to go from there to there. So how do we do that? Right, we can measure that distance and that distance. Okay, so let's do that. Great, so that is, let's say 6.5, yes? 6.5 there. Excellent. And then from the bottom to there, it is 1 centimeter. From the bottom of the paper to where that shape, it is a fin, that fin shape stops. There, it's 1 centimeter. So now we link that up. So now you must look very carefully at that curve. Okay, it goes out towards 5 o'clock and then towards 7. Okay, a little bit out for about 1.5 centimeters or centimeter out, like that. Look, always look. And then it curves, right? A lovely little curve. There we go. Great, so everything needs, in each block of the template, everything, your drawing needs to look exactly like the drawing in each block of the template. Right, so now we're going choops to there. Okay, so that's your horizontal line there. Great, so now what we can do is we can measure that distance, right? And that distance, or that distance, or that distance. Understand? Let's first measure from the top, from that line. It's also about 1 centimeter. There we go. Great. And then let's measure from that line. It's 8 centimeters. Let me put it on 8 there, and it's there. Right. If you want to measure from the other side, you can also do that 4. It's 4. Correct. So now you know that must go round it, and up. Okay, so look, round it, and up. There we go. And there we stop. Okay, so now we're going to do this shape. There we go. So we see it doesn't touch the end of the paper, right? It doesn't touch, and it's about that far away from that line. So that's easy. We can see it with our eye. Once you can see that you feel confident enough to just see with your eye the distances, you don't always have to use your ruler. Okay, so now we see that makes like a smiley, a smile, hey? An emoji smile, and then it curves up. So let's do that. Remember that distance too. You can see it's about there, right? If you, just one moment. Right, so we can measure that distance there. That is 1.5. We measure 1, can you see? Yes, 1.5. There we go. Excellent. So that will be your smiley. You see, that's a nice smile, and then it curves up. Okay, lovely little smiley, emoji smiley. Great. And now we're going to move. So that's also very easy. You make your mark there. And we're going to move to there. So how do we know where to stop there, that shape? Again, we can measure there and, oopsie, sorry, and there, that distance, those two. Great, so let's do that. Let's measure this one first. That is, let's see, it's almost a centimeter. You don't have to be exact, more or less, there we go. And then that is 4.5, correct. 4.5, and that's where we are. So now, see how easy this is. You just make that curve going to there. Okay, over there, and that curve. Great, there we go. Excellent. And now, we need to get to that line there. And as you can see in this block, you get that shape. So we need to get that shape in that block, and that helps us already. See, so we can measure. We can either measure from the edge of the page to that line is 9.5. There we go, 9.5. Or you can measure that little section. It's up to you. Yeah, more or less 2 centimeters. Okay, and then you can see with your eye, or you can measure, it goes up to there. You can either measure, and then you need that, there we go, I'm doing that shape. First, you see, I'm jumping to the easy part, because that's easy. You can see that doing that shape is easy. And then you would just connect the two. You would just connect the two. Great, so sometimes if you think, ooh, how do I do that? Then you just go jump to easy parts, okay? The easy ones are usually the little triangular shapes in the corners. Those are the easy parts. Because if you just look at each shape in each block, they will all link up. Even if you do that one first and that one, they will eventually all link up and become the image that you want it to be, because you have been doing it exactly according to your template. Great, so now again we're going to do that curve there, that curve from there to there, so we're almost done. So we measure how far up must that curve go, so we measure from the top of the page to that curve. Let's do that. That's 2.5 centimeters, 2.5 centimeters. Great. and then we connect the two bits, the beginning and that section of our last bit of drawing and the beginning of our drawing. We connect them with that curve. Great. So now we're going to put the fin in, so we can measure that distance and that distance, right? So let's see, that distance on the line is 3 centimeters. On the line of the dolphin 3, we know we must start there. And where does it stop if we curve up? Oh, about 1.5 fish. Hey, there we go, more or less there. And then look at that curve. Okay, that goes towards 5 o'clock. All right, so we make a nice curve there. Excellent. So you want to see, where do we take it from the top? How far? Let's measure from there to there. 4 centimeters. 4 centimeters. Like I say, eventually when your eye is practiced enough, you don't always have to use the ruler. So then we connect it. Look at that curve there, and you go at that line, that curve, that line. There we go. Great. Excellent. So we've got that fin. Let's quickly do this one here. So again, the easy part is, if you look at this block here, you can see, okay, let's first do this block here. There's a tiny little triangle there. Can you see? Tiny little triangle. You can put that one in. Then you see, there you get that triangle on its side. And there's also a tiny little triangle. Okay, so I'm just looking at shapes. There's a tiny triangle, and then it goes a triangle on its side. Can you see? Of course, if you want to measure, you can also measure. That's about 1.5. That's about 1.5, right? Or you can also look with your eye when you get more practice. Then, in this middle block, we've got that little pyramid there. Hey, that pyramid triangular shape. Let's see, that's, if you want to draw it or measure it, it's about just like after 2 centimeters, more or less there. And the height, you can see with your eye too. Hey, it's about there. So that links up like that. Great. And then here, we've also got that little shape there. Another little triangular shape. Can you see? There. And then we need to see, okay, now that curve, there's another big smile. So we can measure from the bottom, and we can measure from there and from there. Correct. Just so we get it right. So let's do that. Measure from the bottom. That's about 2.5. There we go. So we know that smile goes to there. Where does it stop? That's about, it's about one-ish, about somewhere there. And from this side, 6.5. 6.5, about there. Right. So now we know. We link them up. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. There we go. Excellent. So that is your shape of the dolphin. Right. Now you can do any shapes of your own within. Okay, but the eye we do want to get where it is, and the mouth of the dolphin, so you can do that curve. But I'm not going to mark you strictly on my shapes that I did. I'm going to mark you on the actual drawing of the dolphin, and just to see, I will know if you understand how it works, because I'm allowing the girls to do their own shapes within with their own patterns, and we've got metallic markers, but if you don't have, you can just use koki pens. Let's just quickly do the eye. The eye, again, we can measure that distance. There, that is 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters. A lot of girls by now do understand how it works. You see that little curve under the line? You need that little shape. You want to see how far. the length is also about 2. It's also about 2, and you get that little half a moonish shape there. You want to see how far up it goes, you can measure there. That goes up to just over 1.5. Just over 1.5, about there. Right, and then you connect them. Great. So I hope this has been helpful, because once you understand it and the penny has dropped, then you've got it for life. Okay, then we do that little pupil eye shape in there, the eyeball, and then we curve that. You see the distance there? You see this distance here? So you can look with your eye, it goes up and it curves, and then it goes there. If you want to see that distance there, it stops there. Where the eye, that round shape stops, there it's the same. Okay, and then you link it up. Great. And then you can do your lovely dolphin smile there. Great. So that, like I say, the other shapes you can either do exactly like I've got, or you can create your own shapes. I will show you a few examples of what the other girls have done so far. Right, so these are some of the dolphins that the one class has drawn. See, they've created their own shapes or similar to mine. Okay, well, she hasn't put shapes in yet, and she has. And then, just one moment. Right, and then another class is doing the orca or the killer whale, and this is their template. Now, when I did mine, I realized I did my patterns very detailed. So I suggested to the girls, draw some shapes, and this is what they've done, where you just do detailed patterning, and others where we're using a metallic marker, but if you don't have, you can use koki pens. So some areas will have detailed patterning with your fine liner, and then other areas will just have shapes of color, be it with a metallic marker or with koki pens. Right, so you see there's a lot of detail with fine liner, and like I said, you can create your own shapes within your dolphin. Well, this is the orca, but just so you get the idea, you see the metallic marker or koki pen, and then she can do, for instance, fine liner in those shapes in between. And you can use thick, you can use thick fine liner, thick koki, thick markers, thicker markers, and fine liners as well. So you get a variety of lines, so it's not all the same. Great, so there's another example. She's just started with her fine liner, and she still has to add her color. Another one, color, and then the fine liner patterning. There we go. So you see, now where's my template? She's taken some ideas from me, and then she's also created her own patterning. Right, and there's another example. Great. Excellent. So, once you've now drawn in, let's just draw some shapes in. Okay, I'm just going to do my own. Okay, you can do any shapes you want. Once you've drawn in your shapes, that's what I'll do as an example, then you erase your grid, right? I'm just doing this little section. There we go, just to show you. You erase your grid, and mine is quite dark because of the 6B pencil. Okay, and then you now decide, okay, here I'm going to make another line maybe, and I'm going to do pretty little patterns in fine liner, then I'll use koki there, and then I'll do other pretty little designs, maybe little dots everywhere, and then little wavy line. Okay, great. So a bit more grid there. So then you take your fine liner and you draw your shapes. You draw your shapes. There we go. Make your little pretty patterns how you want them to be. Okay, and then you can also use a thicker koki, which, just one moment. That's, of course, if you have got one. You don't have to go and buy one specially, just to bring variety in here. So you can make some nice, bold, thick lines, and then your smaller patterns. Maybe you want to color one in between. Every second one you want to color in. There we go. Just as you wish. And so you carry on with your lovely little designs. Then you would now carry on, of course, all the way. And then you could take your koki, or we have bought, these metallic markers were quite cheap at Checkers. Right, and that's what we have used, but please don't go and buy them specially. Okay, that is the effect they create. Great. And if you don't have, you use your koki, and in between you can do one shape in koki, and then your next one can be nice little dots. You do your next design again. Okay. Nice little dots, or whatever pattern you want. I have got examples of various patterns I can show you as well. Okay, so I'm just doing this to give you a little idea. You can do little squiggly patterns there. You can have lots of fun doing this. The girls are really enjoying it. Okay, and then you decide, okay, I want to put a bit of a darker one in between to make it pop a bit more. Yes. And these ones I can actually carry on. There we go. Okay, so then you can do maybe a yellow design there, a nice yellow shape. Okay, so there you can have lots of fun. Okay, and then again a little black. So I'm going to cut these out afterwards. So try and keep the edges, don't make them too black because it's going to be pasted on black paper. Okay, so there's just a little example. Right, so it's always nice to tweak it a bit. There we go. Great, so you get the idea. There, just a little decorative, alternating with fine liner, koki, and color. Right, and then after that, like you can see after there are some ideas of patterns. I'll do it slowly so you can actually stop the video if you want to, and you can look at the patterns. Okay, so there's that one, and then one moment you quickly grab the next one. This is the whale. So I did one for each class, all the different patterns. There we go. And then your dolphin. There, that's the tail end. There we go. There's your dolphin. Right. Then, now the koki I used for the frame, but don't worry about that. If you could just draw your dolphin and then the shapes within and decorate it with fine liner and with koki, or if you've got metallic markers, if you prefer, if you want to buy some, but you don't have to. Either which way, if you just complete your dolphin and then do your decorative designs and your color, and then I'm going to cut it out. Then you can bring it to school and I'll cut it out and I'll frame it for you. I'll stick it on black paper. For the actual frame there, what we did is we took these metallic markers. Here we go. And then I just made designs. Now koki won't do that on black paper. Okay, but with metallic markers you can do that. So you just do like a few decorative designs and koki won't show. So what you can do also at home, so you're prepared when you come, you take a piece of white paper, that's not if you're using kokis, and you measure on each, you measure, right, where's my pencil? You measure 1 centimeter, 2, 3, 1 centimeter width, and then on the other side also 1 centimeter width. You connect them, put the ruler on each mark so you get a nice straight line. Right, there we go. And then you can take your fine liner and you can make pretty patterns with your fine liner. Okay, some in fine liner and some in koki, and then we'll cut that out. Okay, and we'll frame it with this white paper frame as opposed to a black frame with metallic marker. Now that's if you've got only koki. Okay, great. So this is so much fun. Once you start, you can't stop. I'll just show you another. So then one will cut out these strips. There we go. Cut them out all the way because these are, how can I show you? These are strips that have been glued on. Okay, they're strips that have been glued on, and then we will cut these out and glue them as a frame around your artwork if you're using koki. Okay, right. Excellent. There we go. And I'll just show you one more example of patterns. Just a moment. Right, girls. So here are a few more examples of patterns. Great. And I always do an artwork. I don't know if I mentioned it, or perhaps I have, so that I can see what to teach. And I did a lot of detail in my patterns here. So you don't have to do so much detail, but of course, if you would like to, you are most welcome to. I am looking so forward to seeing your artwork. Okay, have fun. Bye. Hi there, I'm back again, but just briefly. I couldn't resist doing more patterns, so I just wanted to show you. So this is with fine liner and a bit of a thicker koki and koki pens, colored koki pens. I am so enjoying it, so I just wanted to show you. So once the patterns have been decorated onto the dolphin and the border, then it gets cut out, and then I will frame it because I need to get the right size black paper because they all have to be the same size for exhibition purposes. But I just quickly wanted to show you. I would love to finish it, but I need to export this video and get the tutorial to you on time. Okay, thank you, and bye-bye again, and enjoy the project. Looking forward to seeing you again. Bye.